We're live and hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with star of Go Go for the Gold Season 2, Go Go dancer Peter Apollo. How you doing today, sexy?
I'm doing great. I just woke up from a nap, so sorry I'm a little late.
Not a problem, babe.
Every day at 3
Or-
p.m. I get super sleepy.
That's me every day. I wake up like crazy early.
It's actually
So
the
like
Italian
usually
way. They take a nap. It's built into their schedules.
yeah, that's kind of like so they have a nap like they do in Mexico, like in the middle of the day.
Yeah, or they get off work and they go home and nap and then resume their evening.
Work. So where are you originally from?
I was born in Portland, Oregon, at Legacy Emmanuel, which is actually where I guess a majority of babies from Portland were born until they built a second hospital, birthing wing at a different hospital, which I think is a different one. I can't remember the name of.
Work. So I am.
Oh, but for a while there was one guy basically doing all the freaking circumcisions in the city. So yes, I'm cut.
Crazy.
Oh,
So
I
I
should say,
am.
what am I not allowed to say on here?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, I just don't want to get either of us banned.
I haven't gotten banned one. Let me put it this way. I've had people talk about ass eating on here. I have had people talk about escorting. Like literally, there is no limit. I
I mean,
haven't. Well, I think maybe murder. That would be like.
well, I've only killed a couple people, so and nobody knows where the bodies are.
So I am from Florida. Unfortunately, I cannot wait to leave.
Where in Florida were
Legitimately.
you born?
I'm living at home now. I'm originally from a small suburb about like 45 or about an hour north of West Palm Beach.
Hmm.
So, yeah. I ran
Uh,
away once. I ran away to Orlando for 4 years, and then when I had to come back home, I'm like, I got to get out of Florida. I'm just just over it.
what are your pronouns?
I pretty much I don't really care. Like I'm not a huge like pronoun person, but like I'll answer to he, I'll answer to she, I'll answer to they. Like I'm not too like particular.
Hmm. I
So
prefer he, him, but as long as I'm being paid, I go by anything.
I mean that's honestly how like people are. Like they have to be even people who I say like go by they. It's like, well, you're not gonna go by they for everybody's not gonna call you they. Like because you have some
Facts.
people who don't know. Like or you have some people
Controversial, but if you have a beard, you can't get upset about people misgendering you.
I mean true. I mean, yeah, you can't get it's just like if again, this is another controversial point. If you're more of like one what we're gonna call traditional gender, like you
Yeah,
can't get mad at somebody who's like doesn't
society
know.
is still society. The majoral opinion is still the majoral opinion, unfortunately.
So what was it like for you growing up as a kid?
I grew up in foster care, which I entered at the age of 12. Before that, um, I was kind of a child prodigy, not to toot my own horn. But the difference between a genius and a prodigy would be a genius is really capable of coming up with new ideas that no one's ever thought of, and a prodigy would be someone who's really capable of absorbing information that already exists in the world. So I won a lot of like spelling bees and math bees. I was the number one. I had like the best reading comprehension in the state, highest state math test scores. Did that come out right? In the state of Oregon when we ended up moving here. So I was born in Oregon, and when I was 5, my family moved us down to California, and then we moved back up to Portland when I was 10 So 5 to 10 was kind of my formative years in the brain, you know? It was really like finding my
Yeah.
identity and learning geography. So I identify in some ways as a Californian, but I know that I've spent 4/5 of my life now in Portland.
Yeah. I mean, wow, what it's like to be a prodigy. I wouldn't know that.
I don't
Clearly.
want to know it.
Well, my thing was the one thing that I could have been groomed to be as like a musician would have been like a what I call a quote unquote show pony, but that's not.
Like
That was
the
never.
like the 12-year-old tramps on Toddlers and Tiaras.
What I describe it as is basically I could have been someone who was obsessed with like the classical style and gone to like all the performances and done all the black tie like suit events that they all
Okay.
wanted to do. But I'm too fucking rock and roll for that shit. I was the person who got in trouble in choir class because I did vocal slides. Because in my mind, I still think I'm Mariah Carey. So like,
I've heard you sing. You're
I
pretty
just
good.
thank you. And it's like, and plus, like, my thing was I always knew that I want. Well, probably it's from like the age of 14. It's when I crazy. Everyone thinks like, what do 14-year-olds know about anything? But I wrote my first song at 14. So like,
14-year-olds know a lot because they've been brainwashed by all the bullshit,
yeah.
coerced into following society's rules.
Which fuck society's rules.
If the rule isn't ethical, it was meant to be broken.
That's why there's like some people, as I said, I'm one of those people who like some people like judge escorts, judge people who do porn, judge all this. I'm like, fuck it. Like, let people live their lives. Like, especially people who judge people who do porn. It's like, seriously, you want to consume the shit that they're making.
Right.
So somebody has to do it.
And they don't want to pay for it. Speaking of which, oh my god, I just dropped the link to my OnlyFans. There is one shirtless picture on there for $20. Go subscribe.
Okay, that was actually one of my questions. So, well, okay. Do you
We'll
have
circle
like
back
a
to it.
goal? Yeah, okay. We'll circle back to work. So, what was it like for you coming out?
Coming out, I'd already been in foster care, been out of foster care. The state is like really passionate about keeping, the state of Oregon is really passionate about keeping foster care youth connected with their families, regardless of how abusive they are. So it's basically like my family would use the daycare, like foster care is like a daycare system of sorts. And the state would like come and take me away and they'd put me in like shelters and whatnot, and then I'd come back. But so at one point I was back at home and I was volunteering with Planned Parenthood with my best friend Marisol Rodriguez. Shout out. And I came out as bisexual to her because I didn't want to be all the way gay. It was better to be half gay, you know. I was like, oh no, there's still a chance I could be saved by the Lord and maybe even date you, you know, because I don't know how you feel about this. You're 14, I'm 14. Like, what do we know really about each other's opinions or the politics or like the identities or the neuroscience behind sexual identity and orientation? So I chose bisexual to come out as. And then I think I just kind of accidentally transitioned into gay just by never doing straight things with straight girls. Although I will say I had a girl that I was best friends with when I was 16, 17, and her boobs were so much fun to play with. The first pair of titties I ever touched. And I was like, oh my god, like these things are, the texture, the texture? Have you touched titties?
No.
They're okay. Well, don't knock it until you try it because they're fun. Like they're very squishy and like, but they're not. I was like, are these kind of silicone-y? I'm not gonna lie. Like they kind of feel like the drag queen boobs. The drag queen
So
boobs are like very faithful recreations.
yeah. So I will say for mine, I also came out as bisexual, but I came out as bisexual because came out in a religious household. So coming out as bisexual, not so good. So I will say, in some ways, I was fortunate because I only had to come out to one parent because I came out 4 months after my mom died. So it's just having to come out to my dad, and then I have like an older sister. who
Well,
were
if your
both
mom's dead,
accepting.
he needs to accept you, otherwise he's gonna lose another family member.
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
I'm sick, sorry.
Yeah. No. It's just you're good, Boo. So the person I shouldn't have come out to was a youth minister at the church. Because I told him about this performance idea I had with like a knife and how I'd practice stabbing myself because I'm dramatic, obviously.
It's for the art.
And
Okay, wait,
he
no. What is the performance idea where you stab yourself with a knife, though?
so it was basically it was just
Can you
crap.
reenact it?
I don't have a knife with me. I'm just trying to remember because
Mine's too
it
far
was
away.
like it's been so long ago, but I know it was like it was first song. I don't think it's a song I perform anymore. I don't like doing my old stuff when but it's like anyway, I like practiced stabbing myself and then like towards the end I like picked up the knife and went like stabbed myself in the heart because
Like under the shoulder, though?
yeah.
I loved that trick when I was young.
But anyway, so he left the room. He came back in about 10 minutes later. He said, "You have one of two options. Either you're coming with me or I'm calling the cops."
Wait, okay,
Now,
what? This is Florida still?
yes.
What, and was it illegal to be gay? Did they had like youth conversion services legalized and everything? I think they do currently.
Mm, not legalized, but the Catholic Church does what they do. That comes in a little bit. So it's like, so after he like, so I went with him. Now in hindsight, I would have let him call the cops. So I went with him to get a psych eval.
No, call the cops on yourself, please, right now.
And then I had passed it. They had told me I had passed it, but he went around basically telling the people who gave me the exam that I lied. And as a result, I got locked in a mental institution for 64 hours. Yeah.
That's not too long. But how old were you?
I was 18. I was 18, but I would say it was a naive 18.
Yeah.
So so basically what I did was I fucked up and I signed away my rights, thinking I was getting help.
Uh-huh.
And then after he got out, that's when the conversion therapy happened.
So it wasn't
They
over.
no, they gave me a therapist to talk to. And she tried to pray it away. I thought it worked for a grand total of 6 hours. Saw a guy's ass that I was into, and I got hard. And I'm like, nope, you tried, you fucking failed, but you tried.
That's kind of cool your therapist prayed for you. I feel like my therapists have never done that.
It wasn't a real therapist; it was a counselor.
Well, of course.
Because clearly, therapists aren't supposed to pray for you, Peter.
Yeah.
That's like
Well, my
goes
therapist
against
goes
science.
to me, so if they were praying for me, that would be like above and beyond what I'm used to.
But as I said, I say that was the start of my downward spiral. Because then year later I was suicidal. Then I got raped. Then I was suicidal again, and then I got sexually assaulted, all within like the span of like 4 or 5 years. So as I always say, the fact that I'm still alive, I'm thankful for every day.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry all that happened to you, just because you were gay. You're
I
gay?
mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Not a lesbian. It's hard to tell with the wig sometimes.
I have no, I've had to think, like, could I ever be with a woman? No. Man, I'm just getting the hang of topping. I just did that for like the first time and it was enjoyable about a month ago. So like
Whoa, what do you think made you able to do it?
well,
Or helped you be able to top? I have so many friends that struggle with that.
what it okay, let me put it this way. So my special friend, we were sitting on the couch. I snuck him. Well, he was at my dad's house. My dad was out of town, so that's why I invited him over. And like we were just like sitting on the couch, and then all of a sudden he just started like sucking my dick, and I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden he like lubed it up, and then without telling me, he just sat on it, and then he was like riding it, and then like all of a sudden I just thought I had like pre cum. He's like, you just came. I'm like, I did. And then
You go, Glen Coco?
and then he kept going. I'm like, you think you're gonna get more than one load, bitch? He got 3 loads on me.
Juicy.
As I said, like I feel like you're asking what happened. I told him everything. Like I had gone through the rape and all that, and I feel like maybe that's what did it. It's like it was the first guy I
No,
had
so
ever
that's
opened
actually
up to
that's
completely.
a thing for me. I cannot be sexual with somebody unless they've seen me cry or I've seen them cry.
Really? Well, I mean, I
I
get
feel like
that.
I feel like why would I want to fuck somebody who's not capable of looking me in the eyes while I cry? Like I'm not gonna get aftercare from someone that doesn't do that. And I'm an ugly crier, like really ugly.
Actually, you know what I'm gonna say about that? Like some people might think that's weird. I actually think that's kind of beautiful.
Kind of what?
I just kind of beautiful that you would like for some like makes be so emotionally vulnerable with somebody that like that's the only way that they can fuck you. Or
Right.
yeah. Mine's a little bit less, and my special friend does this. It's like I have the simple rule of if you're not eating my ass before you fuck me, you're not fucking me.
That's a good one. It's good to know what you want.
Well, yeah. It's like, first of all, I'm mostly with black guys. It's like you're not gonna stick your 8, 9, 10-inch dick in me without like warming me up first. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care how I don't care how fat my ass is, my hole is tight. Like
As a virgin, I can relate to that.
what? You fucking liar. So, what made you want to start go-go dancing?
I originally knew that I wanted. So I fucking hate go-going. Can I just say that? Go-go's, the entire like male sex industry is so exploitive. It's insane. The amount of money that a drag queen is capable of making for performing one song is what a go-go boy has to dance all night to earn. Go-going, I received several offers for even while I was down in LA filming Go-Go for the Gold. I had go-go'd at a couple bars before the pandemic in LA. You're getting paid like $100 to $200 a night, depending on the venue, and that's fucking bullshit. Because in LA, especially, they have you up on what is essentially like a storefront. You're up on like a mannequin on display. There's no kind of facilitation of like the customers tipping you. You're half naked, and you have customers that are allowed to walk by on the people that aren't even your customers or customers of the bar in LA, walking by, staring at you on display, trying to tempt customers into coming in. People are driving by, taking your photo. They're walking by, taking your photo. They're like, in LA, you're in the background of all of this shit. The amount of exposure that you go through, go-going and WeHo, is insane for the amount that you're paid. And it's not as special when people are photographing it and putting it online for free. I think
And
people
it's
down there really start to take the go-go boys for granted. I haven't met a single go-go boy working in LA that doesn't have an OnlyFans or a second job.
yeah, I mean that would be fair. All the go-go
Right.
boys I've interviewed are either they work. I just interviewed somebody on Monday who also does OnlyFans and escorts. So like,
Yeah. Well, in LA especially, I'm like $100 to $200 a night. It's barely a livable wage. It's kind of nuts.
well, nobody. I will say this is a controversial opinion. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. LA is fucking garbage. Like, honestly, like I am so glad that I went out of my phase of thinking that I was gonna move to LA because I'm like, I'm like shit. I'm like I need to be on the East Coast. I have an opinion. I'm planning on putting out an album this year.
Hmm.
I need to be in a gritty raw city, so I'm gonna fucking move to Detroit. Like I need to like
Hot.
go somewhere. Yeah, where it's fucking
No,
affordable.
everyone in LA, it's like one of the first questions they ask you every time I go there. They're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, could you think of a more boring question?" Like, I'd say 90% of people hate their 9 to 5 and do it just to survive. It's not really an effective barometer for getting to know somebody. I actually get offended, and I usually call people out on it. I'm like, "Oh, weird question." I'm like, "Why don't you ask me what I do for fun if you're trying to get to know me?"
Or it's like,
That being said, I love pole dancing.
yeah, or
And
like
to circle back, I knew I wanted to be a stripper when I was like 10 years old,
work.
which is really abnormal. But I actually had some family visiting from out of town. My grandmother, my aunt, several female cousins, I think maybe one or two male cousins, and we were all sitting in the living room watching like My Name is Earl or something. My mom and dad were like, "You have to check this out. It's our favorite show. It's about repentance." And so we're all like watching My Name is Earl, and then for some reason my grandma looks at me in the middle of it. She was like, she's like, "Okay, I'm watching my son's favorite TV show. Cool." She was like, "Peter, insert real name here. What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I looked at my grandma and I said, "Grandma, I want to be a stripper." I that was the first time I ever used that word. I had no idea what it meant. And my family said my mom, she's like, "We don't know where you learned that." My dad's like, do you know what that means?" Like, everybody was like, my cousins were like, and I jumped into the air because I was overwhelmed by everybody being like, "What the fuck is wrong with your son?" And I literally off the couch threw my hands in the air and I was like, "My body, my rights!" And I ran into my room and slammed the door. So you could say I was influenced by the liberal media at a very early age because I really had no idea what any of that meant. But I went to
Smart.
school the next morning and I had a bunch of fag hags, like 4 or 5 girls, and I was like, "You guys, what the fuck is a stripper?" And one of my friends was like, "We need a pole." And we were like, "Well, the tetherball court." And so we went to the tetherball court to practice stripping because apparently, like, one of my friends knew that you had to pole dance to be a stripper. And I had a Jewish friend named Holly, and Holly had to hold the ball out because she was Jewish and was like, "I can't do this, you guys. Literally, I'm Jewish. Like, I can't be a stripper." And we were like, "Well, hold
What?
the fucking ball, hold the fucking ball and keep watch then, Holly. Like, Jesus." And I remember I was the one on the pole, which is probably what attracted the attention in retrospect. So I was like pole dancing, or I swear to God, I was just climbing up and down and like stimulating my genitals on the pole.
Work.
Like an early sexual awakening or something. And one of the security guard runs up and yells, "What are you girls doing?" It was mostly girls, and Holly was fucking Jewish, so of course she thought that like announcing that the security guard was walking towards us on the schoolyard would be like snitching or something. And it's like, "Girl, no, you're protecting your friends. Stop being Jewish for one moment." Like, you get the most presents out of everyone here, and you can't even keep us safe. And, yeah, so we stopped. But that was my first like exposure to stripping. Was like being 10 years old and trying to practice on the tetherball court, and making my Jewish friend hold the ball out so that we could pole dance, which is like not a normal origin story.
Yeah. I would say like when I didn't really know I wanted to be a drag queen. Like I had visions of what eventually became to be Prince Electro Diamond, probably starting at like the age of 15.
Hmm.
And then I just repressed it for years. And when I first started performing, I wasn't Prince Electro Diamond. So like I would just be in these bars, like I would be in these straight bars. So I started doing drag in straight bars. Like
Did you have a name, like a different name?
I used my legal name, which I ain't saying on here, but it's like,
Is it like gender neutral or?
no, it's definitely a male name, and it's definitely ethnic. So I can't lie about being more Italian than I actually am. But it's like I am Italian, but I just say that I'm more than I actually am. But it's like So when I finally was Prince Electro Diamond, I remember the first day I did it. I was at this bar. I do open mic nights. I walked in that first night, and when I put everything on for the first time, I felt so alive. Like I had felt ugly for years, and I'm like, that was the first time I'm like, that's you. Like that's you. And it was also like because I look so much like my mom, I was like looking at this, I'm like, and I was wearing so the sunglasses I wear when I perform are her sunglasses. So it's like I'm literally looking at a reflection of my mom.
Yeah.
And as I say, owners
God,
were cool.
I love being gay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Owners were cool with me, except for one night. So like one night to end my set, I had screamed motherfucker into the microphone. Like I went motherfucker, and then like got off the stage, and then like the following week, I got told by the owners not to do that.
Did you scream
So,
it like motherfucker?
yeah, I went motherfucker, and like did like this dance break, and then I ended,
Yeah.
and then and then as I said, yeah,
Like
and
through the
then
mic.
and then the owner came up to me the next week. She's like, yeah, there's old people here. Don't do that this week. I'm like, first of all, that's not my set this week, and second of all, why the fuck can't I swear in a bar?
Yeah. Also, you're the performer. Why would they tell you how to perform? I get it.
Because I wasn't a bro. I wasn't a bro who had a guitar. That's why. I was the bitch who had an iPod with electronic beats thumping through the bar. That's why they told me what to do.
Were they paying you?
No,
Right.
so that's also why they could tell me what to do. Because when you work for free, you gotta go by the bar's rules. So okay, where am I? So has anyone stolen a tip from your body?
Yeah, it's not common, but I have had people like go to put $1 in because they see a 20 sticking out.
Wow.
And try to do that. As far as I'm aware of, nobody's ever gotten away with stealing tips out of my underwear. I'd say it's much more likely for me to drop money on my way off stage to the locker room. I would say people could steal my money that way. I'd say dancers in the locker rooms that I've worked in have been the most successful at stealing from me. Management at the clubs I've worked in have been the most successful at stealing from me. But I've never specifically I guess if somebody had stolen from me off of my body successfully, I wouldn't have caught it, right? Um, but
Well,
so something people got to watch out for though. If you have a large bill sticking out, someone will put a small one in and try to grab it on their way out, and they'll do it with like a handful of cash that you don't notice or something if they're smart. And I've also had people just pretend to put money in my underwear, and it's not stealing off of my body, but I feel like it's stealing an extra touch when someone goes to put $1 in and I drop it or it falls out. It's on the side of the stage. They see that it's already my tip and they're trying to put it in my underwear a second time. And I'm like, bitch, you can just lay that the fuck down. Like, you didn't even tip me that. And you're trying, like you need to go grab your own tip money if you're going to be touching me because somebody already paid to touch me with that $1 and you need to use your own, like, that's my money. So you can just give it to me.
exactly. And by the way, I'm gonna preface this to say, if I'm ever at a bar that Peter's working at and you try and do that shit and I see it, I will cuss you out.
That's an ally.
Of course, I can obviously answer this question. I sing live, so anyone stupid enough to try and steal my tips, I'm holding a microphone, dumbass. Like,
Right. No, my thing is, I will scream. I will scream. And to think that I won't go and immediately tell the other performers about you is stupid. We all talk.
so here's the one. And by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying, I'm not even going to preface this. So, how have you reacted when someone's inappropriately touched you?
The best thing to do to continue getting paid is to grab somebody by the wrist and redirect it to where it is okay to touch you. I've only ever had one instance wherein I felt truly unsafe and trapped during a dance, and I received help from a bartender, not security. His name was Brandon, total angel. Um, and this man put his mouth on my nipples, and it was like they immediately went into a NutriBullet. And he had one of the firmest grips I've ever oh my god. And then I'm just scared to death of losing my job by reacting violently, you know.
Yeah.
How have I reacted? Usually, I've slapped an old man hard enough that he's once I've had somebody plant a kiss on me and then look at me and he said, "Gotcha," and I smacked that man so hard that he fell out of his chair. Because I mean, he very clearly knew that what he was doing was wrong when he said, "Gotcha." That was sick to me. In general, I try not to react violently. I'm a pretty nonviolent person.
Same.
Uh, I'd say Gandhi is one of my role models, more for his ability to lead people through nonviolence than the entirety of his life, because nobody's perfect. But yeah, I tend to just not work with those people again in the future and not react violently, but rather coerce my way out of the situation.
See, I've only wanted to be violent once. So, this is at a gay bar. So, I was working a place without a backstage. So, when I wasn't performing, I was just sitting among the audience. And I had I'm going to say, some drunk faggot literally think that, oh, I want to see you without your wig. And off my head. And I'm like, baby, you lucky you got me in the right mood. Because if I wasn't, this shoe would be coming off and going right upside your head.
It's so
Don't
fucked up.
touch. Yeah, don't touch my fucking
D-wig a
cannon.
queen, fucking eat shit. They deserve to be scalped in return.
But that was the only time, because it's in general, we'll see, way back when I used to wear clothes. Now I dress half naked because I don't give a fuck. My
Mm-hmm.
feeling is if you don't like the way that I look, you don't got fucking stare at me.
Oh my god, it's so hot in this. I thought I could pull it off.
But so now I feel like if anyone was to try something, although again, it all depends on who it is, because it's if it's somebody you're into, technically it's not inappropriate touching. It's something you want. But if you're not into them,
Right.
I remember my friends with benefits have seen me a few times, and he's grabbed my ass when I performed. I'm like, I like you grabbing my ass because you fuck me. But everybody else, keep your hands off.
Do you say that on the mic?
What? Keep your hands off? If somebody was to come up to me and just because the thing is I don't pad. So if you're grabbing my ass, you're grabbing my actual ass. Because some queens try to tell you need to pad. I'm like, first of all, if I start wearing pads now, none of my drag will fit.
I'm invested too deep.
Yeah, it's just because you have to pad because you a skinny twink and somebody blessed me.
I always think that's interesting. It's is there a big difference, or is there not a big difference between grabbing a performer's fake boobs or grabbing a performer's flat chest? I think that's interesting.
I mean,
I definitely have drunkenly smacked drag queens' fake asses.
Well, yeah. Fake asses. Let's see. Would I be mad if Peter smacks my ass? No. I had to think about it. I'm like,
I
no.
do it in a friendly way.
I don't care. I'm attracted to you. Like
Thank you.
what was it? Somebody asked me like one time because they were trying to get their client on here. They're like, what are your requirements to like book a guest? And I don't want to say like the obvious thing is like I want to fuck the guest. Like that's, you can't say that to a manager. Like, but it's like I don't know. Well, actually, I will say this: you're also fascinating, and I knew you're going to be interesting because like when I asked you what talent do you wish you had, and you said that you wish you could juggle. That's an answer I kind of like because you're used to the traditional people of like I want to sing, I want to like dance. Like juggling's different.
I just think it's a fun party trick I wish I could do. Like, I wish I could juggle, like, if I could juggle balls, I could juggle dildos, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can really go places with that. Like, there's so
Yes,
many options.
I didn't even think about that. That is like totally. Let's see. One talent I wish I had. I wish I could be like the person who kept their opinions to themselves. No
Oh, God. Yeah, I wish I didn't have a moral compass. Because doing the right thing seems to always get me into trouble.
See, I'm also like, what was it? Somebody said like there was an article on like those self checkouts, and like people are like, they're like they gone about it the wrong way. It's like people could steal stuff from there. I'm like, it took you all this long to realize that people could steal stuff from self checkouts.
You don't have to go through self-checkout even.
Well, I'm just saying, like, God, this is why I have a stage persona. So I will
I
say
always
this,
say if
like,
you're gonna steal, just make sure you also shoplift hair dye so that you can keep stealing from the same place.
see, my thing is with the like stealing from self checkouts, what you do is you buy some things, but then you just take others.
My thing is, like, if the produce, like bell peppers, if they only have organic, I'm not paying organic prices. Like, you guys ran out of the other kind, sorry. I'm bringing this in as a normal bell pepper because that's what it is. It's the most normal bell pepper.
So that's why some people are like, some people are like, I would never do that. I'm like, okay, fuck you. Like,
I will say I haven't shoplifted since foster care. Kind of essential.
um, I haven't shoplifted since a few hours ago. No.
You say you haven't shoplifted since you were a minor.
So,
Yeah,
have
all of my friends are 17 and they shoplift. Just kidding. uh, I did a whole stand-up set once on abortion, and I got 86 from the Curious Comedy Theater here in Portland because the owner told me that they tried to avoid politically sensitive topics
what?
when they staffed their comics, and I was like, politically sensitive, like what? And he was like, you know what I mean? And I was like, you mean like a woman's uterus is politically sensitive or something? Like, I don't understand. And he was like, grab your bags and go home. And I looked at him and I said, I feel so bad for your wife. And then I went and used my drink tickets because they don't actually pay you anything to dictate your behavior. They just give you drink tickets in the comedy industry. So I went and did 2 shots and ran out because the bartender liked my set.
Yeah. See, my thing is like I know like I have written a joke that's like theoretically like politically. Some people say like that's insensitive. My joke is like because I've been with a lot of black guys. My joke is I've been fucked by so many get black guys. My ass is a stop on the Underground Railroad, and like. I told that to my friend
That's
one
good.
time.
That's good.
I told that to my friend one time when he was driving. He almost drove the car off the road.
No, and I'm sure your boyfriends really appreciate the help.
But it's like when people say, "Well, okay," and my other joke is, it's like it's not that I don't fuck white guys. I fuck white guys once, twice a year. I call it community service.
You're just giving back.
See, that's why when some people are like, "Comedy's awful," I would love to do it at some point. I would just love to do it one night, like just one night, do a set, like at an open mic night, and then like that would decide where I could either like go forward or not.
Do you mind if I step off camera to grab a shot?
Yeah, you're good. You're good, though.
Alrighty. It's just absence
Okay.
because I hate myself.
You did a shot. I have a friend in the UK who was literally sitting there drinking the whole time that we were doing the interview. I'm like,
Just a little sip. I was like, oh my god, I'm a little
yeah,
tense. I should probably uninhibit myself with 45 minutes remaining.
work. So, have you ever hooked up with
My
someone
eyes just
who's
crossed.
yeah? Have you ever hooked up with someone who's tipped you?
No, I'm a virgin. No, nobody's tipped me enough yet.
I've only hooked up. Well, I'm gonna say twice because one of the times was with the same guy. So, like, at the gay bar I used to work at in Orlando, there was this guy that had like a cross-dresser fetish, and like every time after I used to perform, he was like, "Do you want your dick sucked?" And I'm like, he asked me about like 6, 7 times. I'm like, "Yeah." So we used to like go out. There's like a beach out back, and like he sucked me till I came, and then like I just came in his mouth. I'm like,
On the beach?
"Yeah."
Okay. I always worry about
And like,
sand.
well, it wasn't like a real. It was like it's like a beach, but like, well, wait, on which? Well, it was a beach, but like a woods. Like that was the weird part. So like we would go into like the woods part.
Okay. And he would like lay his jacket down in the bushes like a gentleman.
Wait. You think it was no? He was sucking me.
Well, yeah, you gotta sit down. Did you sit? You stood.
No, I stood up.
Leaned up against a tree?
He kneeled. He kneeled down.
You stood.
Yeah,
Okay. I feel like
and
this
he was
context is important when you're talking about hooking up on a beach. I need to know where
no.
the sand is. I could care less about where the dick's going.
So okay, so if like the woods was like okay, so the sand would be like right here, and then like the woods would be like right over there.
Okay.
So like that's the part I was at. Yeah, and this is like okay at this resort, it was known for this kind of stuff. I say it was the place that had no rules. Like you would see people like making out, and then like all of a sudden one guy would like pull their pants down like in the middle of the corridor. Like this is, and that was the same place where when I came back after I'd already moved back here, a guy hit me up on Grinder, another guy with a cross dresser fetish, and he fucked me in the parking lot. So there's like
Hmm.
the main parking lot, and then they had like this giant field where like there's extra spaces.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and he just fucked me. So he got scared. He got scared because somebody pulled up next to him. I'm like, bitch, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like, you're fine. You're at a gay resort. Like, you know what you're doing. Hell, like, but I'm like, fine.
The cross-dresser fetish is so real.
Yeah, let me tell you, there's so many guys on Twitter that like,
DL, yeah, no, ton. This is crazy.
well, that's the thing. Like, I got DL guys from the beginning because like this was the thing, and like my sister thought I was crazy if she had known what trouble I'd gotten myself into in Orlando.
Hmm.
She's like, why do you want to live in the hood? I'm like, because it's cheap there. And then I say like my front door became like Disney World for dick. So like, doot, doot.
Oh, you're Minnie Mouse.
That's why I'm like, because I was,
You're just a paid performer.
of course, and like this is the thing. I've had plenty of guys say the I'm straight, but you got a nice ass. So I've
Right.
been propositioned. Like I'm like, okay. Well, the
I
thing,
used to be willing to like tolerate like straight guys being interested in me, but I'm just like over it now. I'm like, dude, like wasting my time and energy personally. Unless
well,
I'm getting paid. If I'm getting paid, I'll do a lot more for anybody.
my thing is, I'm kind of like, I'm over hookups in general. Like the person I'm having sex with is my friends with benefits because like he knows how to work me, I know how to work him clearly, and like I don't want to have to sit there and explain everything to you. Like
Right.
there was this guy I tried once. I tried last weekend, and like this guy had this huge dick, and like every time he was doing hits of poppers, and like every time he did a hit, he took his dick out of my ass. I'm thinking I wanted to be like, no, bitch, fucking leave it in. Leave it in, do your hit, keep going. Like,
That's interesting. Were the poppers like really far away?
I don't know, because he was behind me. I don't do poppers. Like, that's not my thing.
Like I didn't even turn around.
But it's like he wanted me to do them. He's like, do you know what these are? I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm not gonna do them.
Like they're inhalants. They cause brain damage. That's how you're getting high.
Well, I also know why they're inhaled the way they are. For the kids out there that don't know what poppers are, so poppers are VHS cleaner, and you sniff them through your nose, and I don't. This is the thing. I know they loosen your hole. I don't know why tops do them. Like,
It's because they want to disassociate from the fuck.
and it's like you go ahead. Like, I'm like I. This is my
No,
thing.
and I bet that man never. And I bet that man has never seen you cry.
No, of course not.
Right. Right.
In terms of like, trying to think, has my friends with benefits seen me cry? He's seen me tear up. Does that count as crying?
Yeah, that's important.
He has seen me tear up, absolutely, because like it's easier to tell people about being raped now, but it's not always Well, I think the easiest way was the hardest part was when I wrote the song. When I wrote the song "Rain," like that was the hardest part. Like the day before I performed that, I was like, I literally cried almost the whole day, and I'm like, no, bitch, you have to do this now. Like you have to do this. You have to perform this. You have to let this out. This
Hmm.
cannot control you anymore. And I did. It was actually hard to sing that day because what happens is when you cry too much, your your throat kind of tightens up, which makes it harder to breathe.
And sucked it.
Yeah. But I got through it because I'm a trooper, and
I'll have to give your song a listen after this.
you did. You liked it on
Did I?
Instagram.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Shit. Oh
I'll
wait. I went through and I looked it up because you were on a kick where you're posting like a lot of dancing singing videos.
I was in a kick. I was in a performing kick. I had to
I like those, by the way. I want to see more of them.
thank you. I will. I have some. I was going to I was gonna do some tomorrow, but my drag sister, who I hadn't seen in months, is like, "I want you to come over," and I'm like, "Okay." So usually the time I would record, I'm going to see her instead because I haven't seen her since she's gone. Since she got out of surgery, so I figure I have to go
Hmm.
see her and supportive.
Are
Be the
you ever going?
supportive sister.
Are you ever going to do a face reveal? Do people ask for
Emma,
it?
no one's ever asked for it. Like this is the thing.
I'm not
You're
asking. To
asking.
be clear, like I love your like whole shtick and identity as a performer with the sunglasses.
Well, no. You're gonna. What happens is at the end of this, like once we're done, once I hit end stream, I'm gonna take all this off in front of you. Well, not the shirt, but like take off the wig and everything.
I get to meet like
So
you. Okay, cool.
yeah, I always do that for the guest. When I don't know, maybe there will be a day because my drag sister wants to do a YouTube tutorial video. She wants to do my makeup, and she wants to do my makeup without the sunglasses.
Hmm.
So it's like I trust you. I don't trust myself to do eyes.
She
It's
can't just
like
put the lashes on the glasses.
no, because she says she wants to do me full out. I'm like, okay, sis, I trust you, but I swear, bitch, if you fucking make me look crazy,
Like that girl that impersonates the dead animals.
what?
Have you seen her? There's like a drag queen that like impersonates people's dead pets. She like, no,
No,
she like followed all of the boys from like Go for the Gold. And like I never followed her back, so she unfollowed me, which is fine. Like people can do whatever they want with their lives. I don't want to see me either. Um, but no, I can't even tell if it's like satire or if it's real. Like, but it's to me it feels like people like it. It's funny. Like I laughed. I was like, oh my god, this bitch is crazy. But
yeah.
it's like very like it's like she'll dress up as like somebody's poodle and there's like 3 patches of hair. Like I don't know where she's getting the hair from or what it is, but it's like stuck on her face. And like she doesn't really look like the pet ever. She always looks like some like decayed version of the pet.
See, work. I will say this. In terms of you boys from Go for the Gold, I've gotten pretty much.
I was looking.
Oh,
You fucking knocked them off these last like 2 weeks. You got like 3 or 4 of them.
well, I mean, okay. I will say this for people who are like, why didn't you interview Peter before Johnny Cakes? Johnny Cakes was booked at like the last minute. Peter had already been booked for this for Thursday when I interviewed Johnny. So like,
Hmm.
but no, I've listen. Every one of you who said, okay, I'm gonna spill some tea.
Go for it.
So what happens was, remember how you at first told me no when I was trying to get you on here, and like,
Yeah, I love saying
yeah.
no. So, like unpaid labor. Sorry, not sorry.
So like, my thing was I booked Jay Husam trying to get you.
I do, for
Because
the record, I'm not being paid. I'm doing this because I like you.
yes,
I decided
yes,
I like you as a person.
yes, yes. So my thing was, I figured I'm like, if I book somebody that Peter's friends with, maybe I could be like, hey, tell Peter that I'm nice. Like, and then he didn't end up showing up, and you ended up coming anyway. So like, either way, I got what I wanted. I call it deceptive booking. I will do it again if I have to. So okay. Oh, well, I mean, you said you're doing OnlyFans. So what made you want to start doing OnlyFans?
Currently, I'm taking a step back from stripping in Portland, which is where I'm based.
Yeah.
I just haven't been super fond of the way I've been treated as a performer here recently. I think it's really interesting knowing in my heart that I'm one of the best male pole dancers in the country. And I don't ever feel that like reflected. I haven't felt that recently in the way that I've been treated here by the local community. So I started my OnlyFans as a way that people can still continue to see me and sexualize me because it seems to be what people love to do, and still get paid for it. So I went ahead and actually removed, I believe I got all of it. There might be some buried on like the second, third, fourth, fifth slides of my posts or whatever. But any posts I had where my like titties were out, or I had like too much leg showing or an underwear shot, have all been removed from my social media. They're being paywalled now behind my OnlyFans. It's $20, and I actually just got my first subscriber like 10 minutes before this started. I haven't announced it or anything. I'm probably going to wait until I do about 20 posts. I plan on posting a picture every other day and a video once a week. I think $20 is pretty reasonable to get something that you can't see anywhere else. At the end of the day, I've never gone full nude as a performer, anyways, and it is cheaper than a lap dance, and I think it's a consistent way to show support for me and my life dreams and goals and ambitions. I grew up as a foster kid in America, so I also grew up hungry in America, and I know what that's like. And I have a life goal of seeing world hunger ended in my lifetime, and hopefully having my first farm going by the time I'm 40. I'm actually shooting for this year, getting my first farm going so that I can feed the local population and myself. Because like even during the snowstorm, it's like there was no, like the city doesn't distribute food to people when they're not able to access the grocery store. The grocery store was like completely looted by homeless people in Southwest Portland. There's like no other grocery store here. It's kind of crazy. Just the Safeway. Um, and it's like I can just see that there's like a lot of food insecurity in the world, and there's a lot of humanitarian issues, of course. But you can't like build a house out of dead bodies, which is where we're putting a majority of our food supply right now. And I think that everyone could acknowledge that we are growing enough food to feed the world several times over. But you can build a house out of plants and like the biomaterials that we're beginning to extract. We have bioplastic now and all kinds of things, like fun stuff that's happening in the science world. So I'm actually shooting for subscribers, not people who are clicking on me for one orgasm. I'm actually looking for like genuine support in doing my OnlyFans with furthering my own goals in life, as well as what I would hope are the hopes and dreams of the people around me that want to see people get fed and want to put me through school and see me be fed.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because, well, this is my thing. When it comes to OnlyFans, do I subscribe to people? Yes. Do I subscribe for a long time? No. Only
So
because of
that,
one reason. There's
yeah,
too many. There's too many. There's literally just. I've interviewed so many people who are on OnlyFans. If I subscribe to every person who
you
has
wouldn't.
OnlyFans,
It's not
I'd be
sustainable.
broke.
You'd be broke.
I'd be broke. Exactly. Like
There's so many beautiful
so.
boys in the world.
So it's like, but that if I were to like subscribe to someone for a long time, that would be something that would convince me. Definitely.
And I'm really hoping that I can put my words into action and show people that I walk the walk as well as talk the talk. I have
It
a
reminds
background
me.
in studying ethnobotany and permaculture and regenerative agriculture, so it's something that I'm really passionate about and just simply lack the funds to do. Property is expensive in this country.
Don't I know it? Like,
That
that's
being
why
said, I'm
everyone.
really smart and I know I can get it done on the cheap.
Of course, like this is the thing. Anything you set your goals towards, you can do. It's like why when I'm doing this album, like, do I have an exact plan? No, but like, here's the thing. It
Are
turns
you gonna stream it or sell it?
one. I'll see how much. Because here's the thing. This is the part.
You should sell it first and then stream it.
I might do that because the thing is, it's not going to cost me as much money as I think it is going to. Because like, I figured I've written every song and I've produced every beat. That's what
Hmm.
costs a lot of the money. So basically, all I have to pay for is the vocal producer, studio time, and mastering, which I don't think is that expensive in theory. I guess I'll look more into this. But also, I
Yeah.
figured again, moving to Detroit, everything's going to be cheaper in Detroit than it is in Florida. Like,
Hmm.
because
Well,
minimum
the
wage
music scene is bigger there, yeah.
in Detroit, yeah. Because this is the thing. Like, people say, like, did you do your research? Detroit has the 11th biggest music scene in the world.
Hmm.
And like I didn't know that when I first looked. I was just looking at rent prices, and once I saw
Right.
that, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is where I have to make my album. Like,
Where's the biggest one?
I believe I think from what I remember, it's either New York or London. It's one of the two.
Okay.
I think it's probably New York, and I think London's second. But there's so many people. Like, as I said, yeah, I'm glad that I chose this. So okay, here's something because I know from last time I talked to you, you kind of, at least from what I got, you kind of liked Springfield, right?
Oh my God, Springfield, Massachusetts, so cool.
Yeah.
What a magical little place. Literally the country's first library. So cool. First library, first automobile, first basketball, like the actual basketball. So
Yeah.
even the Basketball Hall of Fame is there, and like for some reason nobody knows about Springfield, Massachusetts. Like I think Springfield is so lit. Like don't move there because it's gonna make it harder for me to be there. But
That's that's what
I
I was
think
gonna ask you. I was gonna
Springfield
ask
is
you if
such
you
a
want to go.
magical little gem. It is. I loved it there. I don't know why. They have the Dr. Seuss Museum. Same deal. I know he was a prick in some ways, but oh my God, the books that he wrote, so
Yeah.
cool.
See, I would love to have you on the East Coast because this is the thing. I would go see you in Springfield because I have family in that part of Massachusetts and I know people in Boston. So it's like I'd come see you there because this is the thing. I'm not leaving the East Coast.
Hmm.
Like, I've decided that the only place I would move on the West Coast that I'd even consider is Seattle, and Seattle's way too expensive. Like,
Seattle's shit. You don't want to move to Seattle. From a local-ish person, like Seattle sucks. Right now, I do think I would rather like live there than Portland. Portland is like the most unaffordable city in the United States to live in. It's kind of crazy. Just
yeah,
like when you factor in like um, the availability of opportunities, like employment opportunities, like it's just it does not line up with the cost of living like at all in any way whatsoever for the average person.
exactly.
And you know, most people are average, myself included.
Of course. That's why, what was it? Before I get to the next question, I'll just say this. Somebody said on like one of those anonymous things where they said, like, I wish I had your life. I'm like, it's not as glamorous as you think it is. Like, I wish my life was glamorous. My life is me being a drag queen, doing cheap drag, but still doing somewhat expensive drag.
Well, you're doing great things with it.
I think, yeah. As I say, I'm not going to tell you how much I spent on this hair. Actually, no, I will tell you. So it's very pretty, very cute.
Party City.
No,
No,
I got it online, but it was like I think this wig was like $15.
Score.
Yeah,
It looks good. I don't even
there you
see like
go.
flyaways.
That's the thing. It's like that's why when all these people are like going out and buying these like $80, $90 wigs, I'm like, the reason I have so many is because just stack them up. Like
I do think it's crazy. I'm like, drag queens are probably making it harder for cancer patients to get real human hair.
exactly. You don't need real human hair. Fuck that.
Like, girl, you're literally made of plastic. Like, be real about it.
Yeah, like get Oompa Loompa hair like I have. No, I'm kidding. So, what made you audition for Go for the Gold?
Oh my God, they asked me that like on the thing, and it was like, I want to be America's #1 champion, Go-Go superstar star because, and it's like, why did you audition for Go for the Gold? Literally, I was invited. Like, I don't know. I just went on there because I was bored and I didn't like the pay was not worth it. I put myself in debt, like being there. Didn't win, obviously. Oh my God,
Right.
spoilers. First time I've ever said that, like ever publicly out loud to someone. Um,
Well, I already know. Like, I
yeah, no, I
watched
know.
the show.
Well, I know, but the viewers. If you guys haven't seen it, I just lied to build plot for you. So check it out. Go for the gold. Streaming now on Out TV.
Peter went very, very far. He made it to the last episode.
I was in the reunion. Um, no, I said even while I was on set, I was like, damn. I was like, so if we're all paid the same flat rate, except for the winner, the people that go home first are getting the best pay rate. I was like, so the worse you are, the better you're getting paid. Or not worse, because we had a lot of really just like interesting eliminations.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that
I
was
mean, this.
like our season had so many plot twists. It was like, what the fuck? Like we
Well,
would show
okay.
up and it was like another person dropped and it was like day 3 or whatever filming, and it's like we don't even know like what's real and what's like, are these like, is this staged?
Well,
Like,
what was it? That's what Johnny Cakes told me. He thought like the guy, the guy who flipped out and left early. He thought that was staged. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like,
no, that seemed very genuine to me. He thought we were being
yes,
careful, and they
of
didn't
course.
show it, but he thought that we were being caricaturized.
Wow.
Which, I mean, like, yeah, it's reality TV.
Yeah. But it's like you blew up and you blew. Well, I said this in my Johnny Cakes interview, but it's like true. There is no season 3 for right now. Now, someone here knows why there's not a season 3, but I'm not saying. And if Greg McKeon, if I'm gonna suggest to Greg McKeon, if I see him again, I'm gonna be like, if you want to change host, Greg, I think I'd be a great host for Go for the Gold.
You would be such a funny judge. But also, Greg was the only judge that had my back, so. Love you,
Well,
Greg.
of course, because you were from Portland, and he theoretically supports people from Portland. Except when I asked him who should have won instead of Johnny Cakes, he didn't mention you.
That's okay. My heart
No.
wasn't in it. So when I got eliminated, I just like I had a plane ticket booked that weekend to go to Folsom. So I mean,
So
you can even see I like watching that episode because I like skip the fuck out of there. I'm like, woohoo! I'm like, freedom! Because I already figured out that the girls that got eliminated first were getting paid the best. I was like, I want a good pay rate for this.
Peter pulled a Willem.
I will say I kicked so much fucking ass that episode, and they didn't show shit of it. Like, I don't know if it's because my butthole was out or it was too sexual for TV. Like, I'm naked in that. Like, I'm wearing mesh underwear underneath the skirt. Like, I literally opened that up by like flashing the drag queens and showing them my dick.
Work. So I was, because my thing was, I would love to be. This is what I would say in terms of me like going on a reality show. There isn't one for me because it's like I've tried for Idol twice and I haven't gotten on, and I'm like, that's because I don't fit in Idol. I'm like, where's the fucking singer songwriter show? That's where I belong. Like, because I would like totally like kick some ass. Although I'd probably find a way to get myself eliminated. Probably get in trouble for swearing. Just put my ass
Um,
on NBC.
I will say the challenge I won while pole dancing, that was like reflecting on it and like watching it. One of the people from behind the scenes that I'll leave unnamed actually like filmed it on their phone and sent me like the raw tape. And it sincerely was like I know everyone loved it, but it was like one of the worst performances that I've like ever given on a pole ever. Like it was so fast and sped up. Like I was just like not my normal like erotic performer confident self. I was very nervous.
We'll see. Okay.
And so it's really interesting because like you can go in there and each episode like with the plan, like you know who you are as a performer or whatever, but it's so easy to get roped in to what production's job is, which is to raise your stress levels and create tension and drama amongst the cast and everything. So you end up comparing yourself to other people, or I did, even if I was trying not to. I do love the way
See,
I was pitted against Laszlo Major because I'm like, well, that says something about my dancing abilities. Like, why are you consistently comparing me to the most talented dancer here?
that is a good point. Although the one thing that I will say, I will admit, I didn't watch the show completely before you came on, but I did watch like clips and like at least from what I'm seeing from your Instagram, was that like awkward at all for you? Like wearing the kind of like underwear and stuff you had to wear? Because I see a lot of your videos on Instagram, and a lot of times you're wearing like jeans when you're pole dancing and all that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the reasons I'm taking a step back from the industry. It was even the last episode where we filmed the reunion, it was like, I'm not getting paid any extra to be naked right now. And I was like, you can see in the reunion, I'm wearing like pants and a button up shirt. I was like, I might have been the same one. I can't remember. Um, I just like, I don't know. It's really interesting to me that I am a stripper and like the way the industry is right now, stripping is kind of dead. Like to me, there's no art to it anymore. There's no tease, there's no mystery. Like and that's because a lot of these clubs, um, just the dynamic and like America is so sex positive that you can walk into a male club, a female club, everyone's already naked. And to me personally, it's my art, it's my performance, it's my dance. It's something my customers love. And I've always been a fan of actually stripping. And I'm not like big on costumes. I like costumes, I like matching. I'm very aesthetic when I dance. I think my underwear always matched my socks. I always strip down to my underwear and socks. Unless people aren't paying, in which case, like, I'm only taking my shirt off. Like, I'm not getting naked for free. That's called sexual exploitation, human trafficking, to be pressured to do that, you know? Um, so was I uncomfortable? Like, yeah, I don't like my skinny little legs. And seeing them on TV, I would say they've grown since then. Like, I told myself, I was like, we're gonna murder that fucking twink. I don't ever want to see that bitch again. And even the red hair that I went on there with, it's like I know in my heart that I lost a reality TV competition, but for a while there, over the last year, it felt like I lost a dance competition.
Wow.
if that makes sense.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I wasn't the most comfortable because I really did like, and also I just kind of, it was like you don't know what the challenge is going to be, and then depending on how we like were presented the challenge, I either like did or did not get a chance to change my clothes for the challenge.
Right.
Just depending on the filming day. And so I knew that it was probably smart to just act like a go-go or dress like a go-go or dress the part, even though I know that I'm a stripper, not a go-go.
See, I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but it's like with that like aspect of being a stripper and like you're saying that you don't want to be just like naked, it almost feels like you would want to do like sort of like a like burlesque like stripping hybrid so that like you
Right.
could
And
like
well, and
start off.
that's it's like stripping is so dead that it's just burlesque now, right?
I wouldn't say. Well,
But like
actually, okay.
I mean, most of these strippers aren't stripping.
Well, yeah, because you come to think of it like theoretically you think like Rico dances on a pole, but Rico's like all starts with as many clothes as he ended with, and like
Right. I like to take my shirt off while I'm upside down on the bowl. No shade on anybody at all, by the way. I just want to say, like, I fully support sex workers carrying themselves in whatever form they feel the most comfortable
yeah,
with. We are the labor.
you want to do your own thing, like and
If I'm good at
trust.
it and the people love it, and it's been shown time and time again that they do, yeah, I want to do my own thing. And I
Right, like
don't really think there are very many environments for that.
nobody understands that more than me. It's like that's why I don't perform much because it's like even my drag sister's like, okay, so if you want to perform around here, you have to lip sync, you have to wear a gown, you have to do all this. I'm like, why the fuck would I do that?
Right, and it's
That's
like,
not who
girl,
I
you're
am.
booking me because I'm talent. Like,
Yeah, like it's like to do that
but
bullshit. I should
I
have
also
to.
understand that these bars have their models and they're set up the way they are for a
Yeah,
reason, and I think a lot of that is just habit, honestly. But it doesn't leave a lot of room for like star power to come in and do its own thing.
that's why. Yeah, that's why I feel like moving to Detroit will give me a chance. It will give me a chance to like start over, and eventually I'll get to do the stuff that I want to do because it's like eventually I want to like not me. I want somebody else to control it, so this way it gets in trouble. But I want to see shit like set on fire, like
Right.
as I'm performing. But of
Which
course,
and
I don't want to.
that one really depends on the smoke alarm system and the
Yeah,
space between.
and that's the thing. As I said, I don't want to be in charge of it. I want
Like
somebody
I
else to flick the switch, so that way if something goes wrong, it's not my fault. It was just my idea.
no, it's the pyrotechnics guy. I didn't do shit. Right. No, I always want to like dance with like sparklers on like 4th of July and New Year's Eve, but it's just you're also a lot of the venues that would tend to book a gay performer are like bars with drunk people and insurance problems, and I get it. Like
See, that's why
I
my
will
thing
say I
is
was
like,
gonna set myself on fire if I made it to the finale of Go Go for the Gold. Watch that shit and nobody set
yeah,
themselves on fire.
yeah, yeah. Wow. So like that would have been crazy. Like that.
Well, that was a big room. I was just gonna surprise everyone and do it. Like my shit was gonna be pre-soaked in kerosene. I was gonna set it on fire and rip it off.
I love that work. So, what's your dating life been like?
Um, I don't really. I was like in love with this guy that like pulled a gun on me in the beginning of our relationship for like the longest time. Um, I was stuck in like a cycle of abuse. And I just recently like really, 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 really decided that I'm done with that. Like it was while I was filming Go Go for the Gold, actually, I found out that he had slept with one of my castmates. And I was just like, wow, like, and I told him before I left too, I was like, you need to fix your cheating shit. I'm totally poly and everything. I'm open to you doing whatever you'd like to do. I don't want to be responsible for inhibiting your happiness in any way whatsoever. I do think it's respectful if your partner has some say or dialogue in where you're putting your dick, especially if you want to go and put it in their mouth afterwards. You should probably be honest about that for your partner's safety, just like bare
Mm-hmm.
minimum level of respect. Um, but like I've been on TV now, and I just at the time decided I was like I cannot have this kind of liability in my life. Um, Somebody like running around Portland like gaslighting me into acting crazy, telling people that I'm crazy, that he's like not dating me while he's dating me. It was just weird. It was really bad, super toxic. And I was trapped in that for a very long time. I only ever had one boyfriend. Uh, and recently, I tried seeing this guy, and we were like on my bed, and he slapped me. And I looked up at him, and I said, "Where did you learn to do that?" And he was like pretty dumbstruck. He was like, because like who reacts that way when you slap him, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know where you learned that it was okay to do that without asking. And I like looked up at him and was like, porn, probably porn, right? I was like, yeah, no, I don't like that. He was like, really? And he did it again. And I looked up at him and I was like, if you do that again, I was like, you're not gonna like what I do back. And he was like, really? And it was kind of hot. I found out I actually like being slapped. Um, and he did it again, and I hawked a loogie on his face. So that stopped that. We don't see each other anymore. Um, that was like our third date, and recently I started seeing a boy who treats me really well and respects me and tells me that I'm beautiful every time he sees me, that I'm like the most
Aw.
beautiful person he's ever met in the world, and he wants to see me accomplish my life dreams. He doesn't think I'm crazy for wanting to end world hunger. He thinks that it's like a noble thing to dedicate myself to and all of
It
that. And
is.
he's just been very, 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 very encouraging, which is what's also given me the strength to step back from stripping on a local level. Just knowing that I have somebody who supports me in everything that I do. We've only been seeing each other for about 2.5 months, and we're starting to bicker here and there. So we're getting to our like little 3 month hump where we're like DTRing and figuring out if we're gonna stick it out. And it seems like we might. It's like I don't know. Maybe he's the one, but also I'm poly, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. And
Still,
I have a lot of love to give, and I don't believe that the love I give any one person would make the love that I give another person any like mean any less or be any less real. Um, so I'm not like taken, but I've been enjoying my time with like one person specifically lately and just kind of rolling with it.
I will say, in terms of my friends with benefits, it's complicated. Like, the thing is, at least in my view, he can't decide if he wants to commit. He knows that, like, he does. He's like, he makes me feel like the most amazing person ever, but at the same time, he also is like, but I know that you're moving, and I know that I don't want to move with you. I'm like, but we'll figure that out while I'm here. Like,
Yeah,
it's like I
why
don't.
do I move with you?
Yeah, it's like I don't. Because this is the thing, he wants to move to Orlando. I feel like once he does that for a year, he'll like be over it. Because I
Yeah,
lived there.
what are you gonna do? Work at Disney World?
Yeah, I lived there for 4 years. I'm like, or almost 4 years. I'm like, once I moved, I'm like, I'm not moving back there. Especially when like the club that I used to perform at closed. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not moving back there. And
Hmm.
like, so that'll eventually figure it out. So the only relationship I've like long term been in is I've been in a relationship a year. But that ended tragically because as they literally didn't even break up with me in person. So we were living together and like they just moved all their shit out of my apartment and then
Super effective
left a note with a key in the door.
and disrespectful as hell.
Yeah. Breaking down the whole relationship. And then like towards the end, they're like, I'm transitioning.
Oh,
So and she's like, I know you won't accept me for the way that I am. Which she wasn't wrong about. Because back then, that was what, 2018? I was younger. I was naive. We didn't know much
uh-huh.
about trans people back then. Not as much as we know now.
Yeah.
Feel like now I'd be a little more supportive with somebody, but it's like at that point, I'm like, no, we're breaking up if you're like doing this. So I did a stupid thing. Like you're always. Let me tell you this is the wisdom I'm going to impart with you. Take time after you break up with somebody because
Right.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that. So I literally got in a relationship a month after we broke up, and that relationship lasted a month. And that guy I found out was racist. So to that whole point of like you should not cheat on your partner. So like he wanted to do poly things. He's like, I want an open relationship, but I want to do things together. I'm like, okay. So I went to work one day. I had to move him. I moved him into my place because he was too far away from me. So like made things easier. So in my
Hmm.
apartment, he got sucked off by two guys while I was at work. And I'm like, oh,
You were there in
this is
spirit.
the I'm
He
like,
was
this is the
thinking
game.
of you the whole time.
Of course he was. I'm like, so this is the game we're gonna play. So he went to work and I got fucked by somebody. I'm like,
Okay, you're that bitch.
and I was young. I was young. I'm allowed to make the mistakes. And as he was breaking up with me, he said, again, in my predominantly black neighborhood, with my door open, he screamed the words, all you ever want is that N-word dick. And I'm like, I wanted to be like, I was sick at the time, so like I just ignored him, but I wanted to be like, you're right. You're right. You're right. Your honky dick wasn't working for me, so I want something better. And then, like, as I say, karma's a bitch because, like, after he left me, he got HIV. So
Whoop.
I dodged a bullet.
Um, well, so are you happy now with your
Yeah,
romantic life? And like it's
I'm.
probably
Let me
not
put it.
exactly what you want, but are you like
I'm
satisfied
happy. Yeah, it's like
and
once my friends
content?
with benefits. Yeah, once my friends with benefits is like makes up his mind because this is the thing. He doesn't want. He wants to date me. Like he wants to date me. Like I know he's wanted to date me. He's wanted to for a while. My thing was at one point he was on probation, and I'm like, listen, I love you. I gotta wait till you're off of probation because I want to like
Because I think you're
be
gonna
able
go
to
back to
see.
jail.
Well, no, I was like, I want to be able to see you whenever I want. I want to be able to be out with you late at night. Like,
Yeah.
so that was that anyway. And I know we got to end here soon, so I'm gonna
We
jump to
have a
my
minute
last question.
left, but I'm not super strict.
Okay. Well, okay, then you care if I go for two? I only have two questions left.
All right.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on how the LGBT community is being treated today?
Oh my God, too much infighting. I think we really like, and I also think we take like marriage for granted. Like that's such an economic privilege to have. Uh,
Right.
um, I live in Portland, Oregon. And I try to avoid I don't like avoid the news. It's really sad what I see happening in like other places. I know that there's still like a lot of homophobia. Like while I was traveling, I felt that like in a lot of airports, you know. Um Worldwide, I know that there's still like a lot of work to do. But it
Exactly.
really I think it starts with like education and like I don't really it's like I'm not even a secure enough place where I can like devote myself to the politics of how LGBTQ people are being treated. Um, and I know that a lot of people aren't in a secure enough place where they're able to sit down with a book and read to change their worldviews or experience other perspectives. Um, but how do I think we're being treated today? I think it depends on what you're comparing it to in the past. I feel like I'm not answering this question at all. I'm like circling it.
Yeah,
Uh, I think trans people have it the worst right now.
very true.
Trans Black people have it the absolute worst. Racism is alive and well and everywhere. Uh, and I think if you're intersectional and are LGBTQ and Black, you have it basically like the worst of anybody in the world. Um, I don't know. It just makes me sad to think about because I know that I'm a proud bitch and I'm really angry and but I'm also like a white man and I experience a lot of privilege.
Hmm.
So and just because I'm a white like man, it kind of it doesn't cancel out the fact that I'm gay, but I do experience less homophobia than a lot of my peers do.
Right. I would say here's I'm just going to state this simple thing. You're never going to be able to cure everything.
Hmm.
It's like as much as you try,
I'm so proud of the work other people are doing.
yeah, yeah.
I can only
It's like
fight with my friends.
you're not going to stop LGBT rape and sexual assault. And
Hmm.
as someone who's been, as I said, as someone who's been a victim of both, the time I was sexually assaulted, I was in drag. Like, it's,
Right, like we have gay people out here raping gay people.
and you have people who just think that they can just, so I guess I'll just go through this a little bit before I get to the last question. So it's like,
Hmm.
so I was literally coming home from the bar that I performed at. I went to like stop and go get food at like a gas station, like right next to there. And a guy just like walked up to my car and then like all of a sudden just opened the door and got in my car. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it was a gas station where there was usually cops all around. This night, not a cop in sight.
Right,
So I took him home. Some people like, why didn't you fight back? I'm like, because I don't know if this motherfucker has a knife or a gun, and I have nothing to protect myself.
right,
So I drove to like, I was driving, and like all of a sudden, as I was in my car, he like whipped out his dick, and I'm like, and it was like, it's like ashy and like disgusting, and I'm like, I don't know. I in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know what you think's gonna happen, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not sucking you off. Not sucking you off like any of that.
it's gonna fall
So
apart in your mouth.
this is gonna be. He's like, oh yeah, you want that? I'm like, and then like all of a sudden, I went like a few feet later. Guy like literally just without my permission, just reached across my seat and like grabbed my crotch. He just like touched me and like at that point, I almost wanted to slug him because it's like, and like he would not get out of my car. Like when I got to his place finally, he's like, come in with me, let's go back to your place. I'm like, no, I'm like, and I literally had to say, I'm like, what the fuck is it gonna take you to get out of my car? And I had like a soda in like the center console. He's like, I'll take your soda. I'm like, fucking take it, go. Like, I'm done.
I hate men.
And that's why, like, I will say it's hard sometimes, like, opening up to people, but it's like, it's gotten easier over the years. Like, and that's why, like, I have no problem mentioning this kind of shit on my podcast, because it's like, I want to teach people, like, you have to fucking stand up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, it's like the scared mind is an irrational one.
yeah.
Like it's not always easy to stop what's happening around you, and or like you said, you don't know if he has a gun or a knife, and there's no witnesses. What do you do?
But just go through with it. Yeah. So now on to
Is your last question happier?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Also, I'm so sorry to any LGBTQ people out there that are having their rights and lives erased. It's fucked up. And if there's anything I can do to help you, reach out to me. But I don't know what I could do unless you tell me.
Exactly. So, what's the biggest misconception about you?
Oh my God, that I'm a bitch. Well, actually, that's true. I am a bitch. But I think people don't know what they mean when they use the word bitch to describe me, or cocky, or whatever. It's people call people a bitch when they're not getting what they want from them. Bitch means you're not giving me what I want right now.
Which this
And
is the thing.
I am so proud to be the bitch that says no to the things that don't make me happy.
Well, this is the thing. Like, especially doing this now, I like you. Like, that's my thing. I don't think you're a bitch at all. So, for me, I have two. One of them is something that you called me, which was intimidating, which I don't
It's
think is
the
true at all.
sunglasses and your deep voice. It's hard to read you.
So, well, I mean, the thing is, like, that's true, but it's also like, when you meet me in person, I'm a tall bitch. I'm a tall fucking bitch. I'm
So
6'3".
you're more intimidating in person.
Yes, but I'm also nice. Like,
I'm just kidding. I'm
it's
sure we're gonna hug someday.
yeah, of course.
Now
I'll
I know
plan
I have
on
to
hugging
stand on
you.
my. I'll wear my like tallest shoes.
I'll lean down. I'm used to having to lean down, being so fucking tall. And then the other one is that I'm shady. I'm not shady. I'm opinionated. Because this is the thing. So many people want to be like, tell all queer people, oh, you're amazing. You do everything so well. You're great. If you're a fucking rapper who can't rap, I'm going to be like, you're a fucking rapper who can't rap. If you can't fucking sing, I'm going to say, like, oh, I can hear where the producer fucking auto-tuned your voice through this 2 minute and 30-second song.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly repetitive. It's like, I can hear it. It's like, some people are like, we should encourage people. No. Untalented people need to know they're untalented.
Stop encouraging bad behavior.
Exactly. Like, everyone's like, but what if they'll find something else? And if they don't find something else, there's always somebody's dick that they could suck at the bar, and that could be their talent. Beautiful. And with that being said, I'm so glad we finally got to do this. It's a pleasure getting to meet you.
Likewise.
Yes.
Au revoir, my Simone.
And with that being said, this is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.